lovely. I hope you're doing really well. I wanted to come on and talk about Etsy today. So I've started selling secondhand homewares on Etsy. I've had my shop for 2 months now and I have sold 8 items on there. I will admit the first month I did procrastinate about what I should list on there and literally didn't list for like the first month. So yeah, things are going really well. I've had 8 sales in a month, near enough. We're just into July now. I did start selling on there at the middle to end of June. So yeah, it is going much better than I thought, and I just wanted to do a long form vid on here so I could run through everything. And if you're looking to get into Etsy, then hopefully this will be a great starting point for you to start doing the same and opening your own Etsy shop, shopping for those vintage homewares or things that bring you joy, and hopefully opening up your business to a bigger market. There's such a big demand for vintage homewares in America. I've had lots of sales over there, so it is definitely worth doing. So yeah, I've been on Etsy, like I said, for 2 months now, so please don't take everything as, you know, some sort of Etsy expert, but I've had a lot of questions. I've been putting my journey over on Instagram and TikTok, and lots of you, like myself, had no idea what to expect with Etsy, and I just wanted to share my journey. So this is just all from my experience. I do feel like it has taken off. I will caveat that Etsy fees are real. They are quite higher than other platforms, but they do seem to do a lot of ads and off-site ads, so you can get traction straight away. And I'm by no means affiliated with Etsy. Like I'm saying, this is my own experience, and so far so good. So yeah, I just want to come on and run through my sales that I've had and just a few tips thrown in there to share with you guys, so you know what kind of things have sold for me. So, you know, it takes away that guesswork if you're looking to open an Etsy shop, and if you're out and about at car boots, charity shops, and you see some of the items that I've sold, you can go and pick them up for yourselves and hopefully build your store and have that success straight away. So one of the first sales that I had was this beautiful Pyrex dish. Now it did come without the lid. It didn't seem to put anyone off. I was getting favourites on Etsy straight away. So the first sale that I had, and I'm going to be using my phone, was this gorgeous vintage Pyrex dish, and it had this lovely like equestrian horse riding scene on. It was 22 centimeters, so it wasn't like the biggest dish, and also it came without a lid. So I don't know if you can see that very well. I will try and insert pictures, but that sold. So I listed it for £16. Bearing in mind it didn't have the lid, and also I'm fresh with my Etsy store. I did want to try and put some more conservative pricing on there so I could build up my reviews and all of that jazz. Sorry, I've just had to go on to the Etsy web browser to get the earnings for that, because I want to obviously share with you guys as well the fee breakdown after the sales come through as well. Sold it with international delivery to America, which I charged £26 for. Now I will say that the Royal Mail website for pricing is really hard to understand. I will go through the postage at the end of the video, but yeah, I want to break down the fees. So I did charge £16 for the Pyrex dish. The delivery for the buyer was £26, and it went to the United States, which was so exciting. So the buyer paid £42.96, which again was £16 for the Pyrex, £26 for the postage, and they also got charged 96 pence. I'm assuming dollars, but obviously I'm going to say what the breakthrough is on my end. So they paid £42.96. So marketing costs, the off-site ad fee, and again, this is really clever with Etsy. So if you generate sales under £10,000, you will pay 15% of the total price of the item in fees. It'll be up to that amount. So that is something to bear in mind with your pricing. So with this item, I paid £6.30 in fees for that, and then the fees and credits. So basically with Etsy, there is a whole host of fees. So it came to a total of £6.78. There was a transaction fee, payment processing fee, regulatory operating fee, tax paid by the buyer, VAT transaction, VAT processing fee, VAT regulatory operating fee, VAT delivery transaction. A whole hefty host of fees there, but that is applied to every order. So how much did I spend on postage? I spent £20.70 on postage with Royal Mail. There is also a customs and handling fee applied. So again, something to bear in mind with Royal Mail. The price of postage, you will have to pay potentially customs charges. So that is also something to bear in mind. So yeah, that is my first sale. So all in all, after all of the fees and everything that come off from that order, so yeah, with that order, after fees, I was left with £29.88 minus the postage of £20.70, and I had a grand total of £9.18. Now, I paid £1 for the Pyrex dish in a charity shop in Hull, the homewares, so £8.18 profit. Obviously, I did have to pack and ensure that it was really packed to go all the way to America, and it has arrived safely, so that is an absolute bonus as well. So yeah, I'm not too mad about that. £8.18, and it was a really quick sale. I did also have that item listed on Vinted and eBay, and Etsy took it first. So yeah, I'm not too mad about it. Obviously it was a first sale, something to learn from, and like I said, this is all a learning curve so far for me, and getting to grips with the fees and all of the charges and off-site ad fees and that kind of thing. Obviously we're going to learn as I go. So the next thing I sold on Etsy, and Mama Ange, if you're watching, I'm really sorry to say that I sold my inheritance. So me and Mum have a running joke that the cross stitch pieces that her and my granny Mindy made were part of my inheritance, but as much as I can appreciate a good cross stitch, it's not really my style. And I don't know if you can quite pick up on camera, but my mum has actually signed this cross stitch with Angela and a kiss in the far right corner. It is a scene of a garden bench with a rake and cottage kind of design. It is Lanart. So yeah, and it's framed. She did have it in our hallway at one point. So yeah, she gave me that to sell, and it sold on Etsy. So I had fun packaging that. But thankfully, that one went in the UK rather than to America. So another thing I do for my Etsy as well, I charge free UK delivery. Obviously with the fees and things, the prices on Etsy are slightly higher than what I would charge on eBay and Vinted. So I feel like that free postage is an incentive for UK buyers because they're not having to pay that in addition to what I'm charging for the item. And then also for me, I'm not having to pack it as, not as thorough, but you know, when it's going internationally, there is a real difference in how you're packing it. So yeah, obviously I do pack with care, but I feel so much better when it's going in the UK rather than literally thousands of miles. For the cross stitch piece, the buyer paid £30 for the cross stitch, but I also have put on Etsy a few discount codes. Now Etsy do a lot of marketing and they do offer discounts for people that if you leave something in your basket, those types of things, you get a small coupon voucher code to get you to go through with the order to incentivize buyers. So it says on this one that they used my shop discount cottage 10 for 10% off, so they paid £27 for the cross stitch piece. Like I said, I also have free delivery, so they wouldn't have had to have paid that. So the fees and credits for this transaction were £3.81, which I'm not going to list all of the fees, but that is, you know, how much the total fees cost. So I earned £23.19 on this order. So for the cross stitch, I sent with every, given the size of it, and I paid £6.68 for UK postage, and I made £23.19 after fees. So minus the £6.68 postage, I made £16.51 for the cross stitch, and like I said, it was free from Mama Ange, so that was just pure profit, just the pain of packaging it, but all good. Another Etsy sale through the door. My third sale was from the lovely Sophie, who had seen my previous haul on here and she really liked one of the plant pots, so she purchased the plant pot from me. It is this gorgeous butterfly and floral one with gold accents. So I had the planter on my Etsy for £20. Sophie paid the full asking price and I earned £14.12 after fees. So I paid £3 in marketing costs for the offsite ad fee for that order. I also paid fees of £2.88, so £14.12 minus the postage. I did Royal Mail, it was £3.65, so that is a profit of £10.47. Also, if you minus the cost of goods for the plant pot, I probably made £7 or so for that, which again isn't bad at all, and also really honoured that Sophie has obviously watched my YouTube, so really appreciate you for purchasing that from my Etsy. It honestly made my day. And yeah, she did have to go on a little adventure to go and collect the parcel because it had been delivered to the wrong place. Royal Mail had redirected it to a tattoo parlour, so that was fun. But yeah, typical that it would happen to one of my subscribers. But yeah, I'm really honoured that you purchased that from me. So yeah, I just wanted to pop that in there. So the next Etsy order was also a freebie. Now my Mama Ange is so savvy and she's fantastic with upcycling furniture, and she got a gin cabinet off of Facebook. Now the gentleman that delivered it had a van, and my mum being my mum asked him if he had any items in the back of his van and anything else she could look at. Now he handed her 2 mirrors, so I have honestly got no experience really with vintage goods at the best of times. I'm just learning as I go, but I do know that beveled edge mirrors are desirable. So this is the mirror that she got for free, and it has actually got a chain that it hangs from, and yeah, it's really unusual. So I thought, we'll try it on Etsy. Obviously didn't have the thought of a mirror being sold and shipped internationally, but yeah, I just put it on there, and I thought that I'd done solid postage prices. So yeah, this one was a big learning curve for me. So I sold the mirror, and I had initially put the postage as £35, judging by the prices on Royal Mail website. So obviously we're so used to having different prices for large letter, small parcel, medium, large, and whatever the parcel, it fits into those neat little categories. So yeah, as long as they're the right weight for those categories and they don't exceed the size limits, it's all gravy. Not with international postage. Now, with international parcels, Royal Mail have within the categories, so the prices are from a set amount, and then based on the weight of the parcel, so it'll say like up to 10 kilograms, but every kilogram within that category will have a different charge. Now, it's really hard to kind of figure out in your brain how much you should be charging for postage until you go and purchase it, and then you obviously have the weight, you have all the measurements to hand. So my advice would be to just overestimate everything, especially with the amount of fees. I'll probably need to do another video once I get my head around postage a bit more, but from my experience, once I'd packaged the mirror, I was so annoyed with myself that I'd severely undercharged for postage, because quotes were coming back for the mirror at around £90 upwards, and yeah, it was looking like I would have my first moment where I'd have to message the buyer and explain that I'd messed up. So luckily the lady who purchased, and it was another sale to America in Massachusetts, I basically said, I'm really sorry, I'm new to Etsy, I'm still getting to grips with postage costs and all of that jazz. She said she completely understands. I said it'll be a bit more for postage. Are you happy for me to cancel this and then relist? And if you'd like to go ahead, repurchase. Now, I wasn't expecting her to repurchase. I don't know why. I just thought that she would look at the price and go, well, that's so much more than I paid the first time. And maybe some of you think that I should have just took it on the chin and paid out of pocket, but I really wasn't prepared to do that. So yeah, for the mirror, I had to charge £100 for postage, which might still not be enough if I have to pay customs and tax later on, but I managed to get postage through UPS for £75.97, so it was a lot cheaper than the £90 that Royal Mail had quoted. So for the mirror, I charged £55 for the mirror, £100 for the postage. So after fees of £24.28, I earned £134.16 for the order. And like I said, I paid, so 134.16 minus 75.97. So I made £58.90, 19 pence for the mirror. And oh boy, it was an experience packaging it. I'd got the mirror all bubble wrapped and in so many layers of cardboard, and at the unit someone had thrown out a TV box, a Panasonic 60-inch one, and because the box was over 100 centimeters wide, no delivery company would touch it. So I had to use the TV box to make a smaller box within the box within the box. Anyway, long story short, I got there in the end and I managed to get the dimensions of the box down so that I could get the postage cheaper, but it was still secure enough for the delivery. So yeah, that one so far I feel like has been my most challenging sale, because yeah, having to re-estimate postage and redo the listing. But I'm really pleased that the buyer was so understanding with that, because it made it so much easier for me, and I was feeling so guilty as it is. Yeah, I really think in the future I probably won't have anything larger than that mirror, because yeah, and I probably will be really mindful when I'm picking items up of their size, because obviously once you're packaging it and trying to put it within boxes and boxes and boxes, you know, you're adding on the weight, you're adding on the size of the box, and the postage does add up. But obviously I still want to have that wiggle room so that I can pack things so they don't break and they get there safely. So yeah, that was definitely a lesson for me, and also for you guys. Make sure you're charging and overestimating postage costs, just in case you have to pay any additional fees after the item's been delivered, because yeah, you could get quoted a price on the website, but when it gets to America, the company might still decide to add on fees once they've delivered it. So yeah, just something to be mindful of when you are listing on Etsy. Make sure you are giving yourself a buffer with postage, because yeah, unlike UK delivery, you've got customs and taxes to consider. The next item I'd sold was a smaller Pyrex dish. Now, I'd had this for a while and I think I'd paid like 50p from a car boot, and I thought, this has taken years and it's not sold on eBay or Vinted, so let's wang it on Etsy. And it sold to somebody in the UK. It was one of those pieces I was just sick of looking at, so I'm really pleased it went. And the buyer paid £7. Like I said, I really just wanted this gone, so she paid £7 for the Pyrex dish. Marketing costs for the offsite ad fee were £1.05. Fees and credits were £1.17. Like I said to you before, for UK buyers I offer free postage, so I paid £3 postage, so I earned £1.78 woo for that order. And honestly, I was just so grateful that it was gone and I had the space back, in all fairness. So again, that was another order that I had just put through to get my numbers up, basically. The next order was these beautiful Winnie the Pooh glasses. Now, if you follow me over on Instagram or TikTok, you'll see that it was a buyer that was local to me, and as I've said several times in the video, I do offer free UK postage. So I asked the buyer if it would be okay for me to hand deliver, not because I wasn't prepared to pay off postage, just because I wanted to make sure that it arrived safely. So the Winnie the Pooh glasses, I paid £2 for the pair of them. The buyer paid £15 for the order, fees and credits came to £2.22, and then from that I earned £12.78 minus the £2. I made £10.78. And yeah, being able to hand deliver that one just meant I had no anxiety of it breaking in the post, especially with it being vintage Disney glasses, and I know that people do collect those. So yeah, I was really happy with that one. So yeah, the final Etsy order that I've had so far was another vintage Pyrex dish. So this one was a country autumn one, and this one again went to America. It went to Tennessee. So I had the Pyrex dish listed for £14. It wasn't a big one. Again, I think I paid 50p or £1 for this one. The postage price charged to the buyer was £35. So yeah, I had £53.53 paid by the buyer. Fees and credits came to £11.46. So my takeaway was £42.07. And then obviously I had to pay postage out of that. So that came to £20.70. So 42, hold on, I'm just gone back on my order, trying to do this as we film. So £20.70 postage. So yeah, £42.07 was my takeaway, minus £20.70 postage, came to £21.37 I earn from that. Now, I know that that is more than I'd anticipated for the dish, but I feel like it works out in my favour. Also, if I get any comeback for customs fees or taxes, at least I've got a little bit extra. So yeah, that is all of the Etsy orders that I've had so far. And yeah, I will continue to share my journey with you. But if you are looking to sell on Etsy, definitely check out vintage Pyrex. They are so popular. Honestly, whenever I list one, I'm getting favourites, I'm getting interactions on the shop. Also, make sure you're looking out for mirrors, any ceramics in general, glassware. People look on there for gifts. So yeah, anything that you think that people could buy, speciality glassware and that kind of thing for like home bars, entertaining, hosting, would be such a hit on Etsy. And definitely make sure that you are overcharging for postage, overestimating, not overcharging, should I say, because yeah, the postage fees are absolutely wild on there. And if I could give you one piece of advice, it would be that, because yeah, you get fees taken out of your postage as well, so you have really got to be mindful when you are setting your prices. And also remembering, and I'm still trying to tell myself this, that people go on Etsy for specialist things and one-of-a-kind pieces, gifts, that kind of thing, so they are prepared to pay for it. And also, if they're prepared to add it, if it's the missing piece of Pyrex or something that they want for their collection, they will be willing to pay the additional postage. So definitely make sure that you are charging the right price. And yeah, I will probably do a separate video on how to set your store for postage in the future, but I just wanted to come on and share my sales for today. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the best way of doing it for now. And yeah, so far I haven't had any comeback for customs and taxes. But like I said, I've only been on there for a month, so I could quite easily have something come through at some point. But I will do a separate video on the postage side of things once, like I said, I wrap my head around it. And yeah, if you guys have any questions on selling on Etsy, then please drop them in the comments and I'll be sure to answer them in another video.